I'm singer-songwriter Louise Carver, and I'll be chatting to the lovely YT and Chris this evening at 7 p.m. on the SA Bros show, where you get to ask me any question, and I hopefully can answer you. So tune in later, and happy Freedom Day for what it's worth. Hi, I'm singer-songwriter Louise Carver, and I'll be chatting to the lovely YT and Chris this evening at 7 p.m. on the SA Bros show, where you get to ask me any question, and I hopefully can answer you. So tune in later, and happy Freedom Day for what it's worth. Hi, I'm singer-songwriter Louise Carver, and I'll be chatting to the lovely YT and Chris this evening at 7 p.m. on the SA Bros show, where you get to ask me any question, and I hopefully can answer you. So tune in later, and happy Freedom Day for what it's worth. Hi, I'm singer-songwriter Louise Carver, and I'll be chatting to the lovely YT and Chris this evening at 7 p.m. on the SA Bros show, where you get to ask me any question, and I hopefully can answer you. So tune in later, and happy Freedom Day for what it's worth. Hi, I'm singer-songwriter Louise Carver, and I'll be chatting to the lovely Whitey and Chris this evening at 7 p.m. on the SA Bros show, where you get to ask me any question, and I hopefully can answer you. So tune in later, and happy Freedom Day for what it's worth. Hi, I'm singer-songwriter Louise Carver, and I'll be talking to the lovely Whitey and Chris this evening at 7 p.m. on the SA Bros show, where you get to ask me any question, and I hopefully can answer you. So see you later, and happy Freedom Day for what it's worth. Hi, I'm singer-songwriter Louise Carver, and I'll be talking to the lovely Whitey and Chris this evening at 7 p.m. on the SA Bros show, where you get to ask me any question, and I hopefully can answer you. So see you later, and happy Freedom Day for what it's worth. Hi, I'm singer-songwriter Louise Carver, and I'll be chatting to the lovely Whitey and Chris this evening at 7 p.m. on the SA Bros show, where you get to ask me any question, and I hopefully can answer you. So tune in later, and happy Freedom Day for what it's worth. Hi, I'm singer-songwriter Louise Carver, and I'll be chatting to the lovely Whitey and Chris where you get to ask me any question, and I hopefully can answer you. So tune in later, and happy Freedom Day for what it's worth. Hi, I'm singer-songwriter Louise Carver, and I'll be chatting to the lovely Whitey and Chris this evening at 7 p.m. on the SA Bros show, where you get to ask me any question, and I hopefully can answer you.
It's the Whitey and Chris Show, SA Bros.
Yes. Welcome and good evening, everybody, to SA Bros. It's Monday evening. How you doing, Chris?
Dude, very lekker. I don't know what I've been chowing. My stomach's like not cool, But still no flu, no corona. So staying sharp, man. And looking forward to tonight. We've got the beautiful Louise Carver and so talented. I can't wait for this, man. This is going to be awesome. This is also our first lady on the show, man.
Yes, you just stole the words out of my mouth. It's our very
Yeah.
first Ladies to the Bros show. So how cool is that? So listen, guys, I think let's just dive right into it. I see you guys waiting for us. So everybody, please welcome Miss Louise Carver. Louise, how are you doing?
I'm very good. How are you guys?
Oh, wonderful. That sound of yours is so good. I think you are the best. Your sound is coming through the best out of all our guests so far. I don't know what's going on there, but you're doing very well.
Yeah, well
Thank you.
done.
Thank
And you look super cozy in front of that fireplace.
Yes,
Yeah.
I've got a pit bull at my feet.
Ah.
She's a little heat worshipper. So yeah, I'm very happy. It's the first night we've actually lit a fire. So yeah, I'm gonna need to find a place to source wood from. I don't know where you
Absolutely.
can. Anyway.
Well, it's
Maybe the
snowing
bottle
on the
store.
Drak. Yeah. Well, it's snowing on the Drakensberg, so I'm sure we in for a long winter. It's just starting now.
Oh yeah, I know. Well, I'm used to lockdown, so just add on the days.
Yeah, exactly. So, Louise,
So,
talking about the
yeah.
lockdown, what are you guys doing? You and the dogs and the boyfriend and everything in this lockdown. How are you guys coping? What are you doing? But obviously, besides your Sunday afternoon sessions, what are you doing to get the time passed?
Well, as you rightly said, the lounge sessions has been really uplifting for me. I've been performing since I can remember, and to suddenly not perform, as you guys probably know, is a very strange thing. I mean, all the nerves and the anxiety and the long treks to the show and the backstage, you actually miss it when it's not there. So that's been
Oh yeah.
amazing. Fans have been requesting songs I haven't played for years, so that's also been quite challenging. And then I have been, one of my New Year's resolutions was to get a new album out. And at around February, I realized that I've got an eventing company, Carver Entertainment,
Okay.
as well as a jewelry line. And I had this epiphany during one of the weeks, the free weeks in February, that there's no way I can bring out another album. I am absolutely snowed under, handling eventing at Cradle Moon, bringing other artists in. I had planned Albert Frost to come up, just had Ross from Prime Circle. And I thought, how are you going to make another album? You're bloody delusional. So this lockdown has forced me to be still and to be creative and meticulous about lyrics again, and all those things that, you know, when you have free time, that you can be. So in a way, it's kind of, I might have caused Corona. My
Well,
New
Louise,
Year's resolution.
you know what? Like being a songwriter myself, I know that you need inspiration to like trigger that stuff. And I'm finding it like super hard to sit at home and actually write stuff if there's nothing I can really feed on except freaking Netflix and the interweb. So what's been like your go-to to like get that inspiration to give you that driving force to get like writing again?
Well, actually, the songs were pretty much written, just not shaped. So the inspiration was there already. It's going to be a far sexier album. I've had my heartbreak albums,
Nice.
and I'm in such a different space right now. So I'd written about 10 really sexy different songs for me in a very different kind of genre, and it was for me to now sit down and play the role of a producer, which I've threatened my whole life never to do. I've been in studio since I was 15, and I thought, how boring to just sit and cut and shift and move and redo things, and I find myself sitting and doing that and loving it. So you never know, you can't know what the next chapter is. So what I'm doing is I'm producing quite a few levels in, and then I'm sending it to the big guns to hopefully not annihilate what I've done. But in my little lockdown studio, I'll call it, if it ever goes any further, the lockdown. But I'm enjoying this. It's can be very frustrating to learn something new.
Mm-hmm.
as we get older. But it's about bloody time. You know, I needed to push myself and not just hand over to a producer, piano and voice. Here you go, sit there
Yeah.
and help him. But to actually sit there and create sounds. I recorded the rain the other day, and I've just I found a site where I can pinch like vintage loops from, and
Yeah.
you before you know it, hours have gone past. And I've eaten a whole loaf of banana bread and had buckets of tea and coffee. So yeah, I also I found a very nice, very cool fitness video. It's not cheesy. She's a cool chick, mad fit. So I try
Yeah.
and do some workouts so she doesn't irritate me, even though she's American.
Yeah.
It's a good one. And then yeah, I've actually finally learned how to cook root vegetables. I always used to look at butternuts and squash and go, I have no idea. I don't know what to do with these things. Carrots. So I'm actually domesticating myself.
Yeah, getting to your South African roots. I mean, as a South
I am.
African woman, you have to be able to cook with that stuff, you know?
Well,
exactly.
yeah. I mean, I'm dying for sushi and takeout, and yeah, I have dreams about it. Sushi, oh, big mouth and Samson, just going there and
Oh,
saying everything on the menu, please now, and a bottle of champagne to go.
yeah.
That's what I want, but that's not going to happen for a while, I don't think.
I don't think so either.
That's not in the lockdown 4 plan.
No.
You see the
No.
you see the difference between Louise and some of our other guests, Chris. Like Louise, you said you are dreaming about sushi and champagne, all the finer things in life. Where 2 weeks ago we had the Polytones guys on, and Paul actually said he's craving and dreaming about McDonald's.
Oh,
So you see the
um,
difference there. That people
hey,
are
the
actually
Polytones are very classy. I thought you were
Yeah.
going to go way
Oh,
worse.
exactly. But I'm just
They're
saying,
classy.
it's
And
so
there's
funny
nothing
to
wrong with
see.
McDonald's chips.
No, there's absolutely nothing wrong with
Oh,
McDonald's chips, but it's I've seen and heard so many people moan and complain about McDonald's burgers, but the second it gets taken away from you, even that people go crazy. It's so weird to watch that you take all these things for granted. It's like when you live in Johannesburg. Yes, I'll get to the mountain. I'll do this. I'll go do the roller coasters. It's
Yeah.
and now that it's all been taken away, you're going, oh goodness, will I ever see any of these things again?
I know. I have a lot of good days because I've got a project,
Yeah.
and us A-type people need projects.
Yes.
But Saturday I had a rough day, and so I don't want to make it seem like everything's rosy. I was cleaning. The dogs keep coming in with wet paws, and I
Yeah.
thought I was still in my pajama pants that I've been wearing the whole week, and I just thought, is this the new me? I mean, there's hair everywhere, and I've had to Google how to clean things. Like, I know this sounds very, it is a privilege, but I had no idea how to clean ovens and things, and
Yeah.
Googling, and okay, and yeah. So what I will come out with is I will finally have been domesticated.
Well, you
The
see, it starts with
coronavirus has done this.
yeah, it starts with that, and then you start cooking with like proper vegetables, and before
Yes.
you know it, you're going to be talking Afrikaans and speaking Afrikaans with the old
Praat
boeretannies.
'n bietjie Afrikaans.
That's great. Listen, if you want to get the best recipes, those boeretannies are they the bomb. You are not going to get better food than the advice you get from those boeretannies.
Yeah, nothing steamed there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Layers of sugar.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, but it's good.
Well,
Oh,
Louise, you know what? You've been at it since like what 96?
yep, in school.
When you released your what was your first one? It don't matter.
Yep.
And that and
yeah.
yeah, and that's the first time I ever heard like Louise Carver on radio. I was still let's see, I was like in standard 9, so I was like, okay, there's a hottie. She's like my age. She's like
Yep.
super hot, and she's singing all this
Oh,
stuff.
thanks.
And that was my first like look and
Introduction.
listen at you. Yeah, and same time I started my music career, and for some reason I always thought, okay, it's just because she's a hot chick, and that's why she's like getting all this fame and stuff. And getting more mature into the industry, I realized that, you know what, Louise was just a better songwriter than me, and
Oh,
you
no.
you have always had this amazing voice, and I don't know, it's is it your demeanor that's like so you're relaxing, you make people just feel comfortable when you're around, you know?
Oh, thanks.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I was anything to look at what was I? Just turned 17 when that came out.
Mm-hmm.
I was very much a late bloom. I don't even know if I bloomed. You never know.
Oh,
Could still get better. But I actually look like a floating head in this polo neck. It's quite interesting. This is
girl,
me
you
floating
you
around
wearing
my
it
diamond.
well. You're doing it well. You're doing it
Oh,
justice. Let me tell you, man.
I think I write about what I know, and I'm very lucky that it connects with people. It's quite simple
Yeah.
writing. I'm not a fantastic pianist. So I was doing the lounge sessions last night, and somebody said,
Yeah.
"What's happening with your left hand? What are you doing?" And I was like, "I have no idea. I'm like a lot of songwriters,
Yeah.
instinctive, intuitive.
Yeah.
I think if there is such a thing as past lives, who knows? I think I've knew how to play and sing a long time ago. I was playing and singing at 2 without knowing. I've never known. Sometimes at big shows, I've
Yeah.
looked down at my hands and thought, what am I doing? Because and like real musicians, like session musos will go like, wow, that's an interesting chord. What is that? And I don't know.
Yeah.
It just sounds good. It just
Like,
it works with the melody. So
yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing.
What
else
is
do you want to
extremely
ask me?
quiet tonight? I don't know if it's just because we got a girl on the show or what.
I'm
But
an
no,
honorary bro.
yeah, do it. Normally, like Whitey is a chatterbox, and tonight is quite quiet. So you've managed to tame the beast.
Well,
There you go.
it wouldn't
I'm
be the
blushing.
first time.
Sure. Check it out. We're gonna go to one of our regular listeners' questions quickly here. It's Nikki Brooks, all the way from Chris's bedroom. Where
Oh,
have you been performing the past few months before lockdown?
Yeah.
sure. Well, every year I put on an amazing show called Sunset Concerts, which is
Okay.
down near where my folks are. They live in Hermanus. So it's a beautiful little town called Stanford.
Yeah.
And on a wine estate, I perform. There's usually 1,000 people, and I've been putting on this event. It almost kills me. Sorry, scratch my nose. And I invite a friend to join me,
Yeah.
and it's this year I invited Ross from Prime Circle, and then we do
Okay.
like a whole. I sing on his, he sings on mine. We do different things, and
Yeah.
it's a beautiful concert. So that wipes me out for December. I'm completely focused on that. In fact, going forward, I need to think of a different way to do it because it literally kills me. And then I go to Mozambique for about a week or 10 days, and I just drink Deutsche
Just-
M, eat prawns, swim, get stung by the occasional blue bottle, but who cares? You're drunk by 12. It's
Pick out
lovely.
and get tan. That's all.
Oh, I don't think this can ever tan, but anyway,
Oh.
just goes red, unfortunately. But and then I've been doing shows at gosh, I can't even remember. I was about to leave on tour and
Yeah.
do my Easter tour with 9 dates around the country, which has then been cancelled because of. But I hope to resurrect the tour and do it maybe with a few new songs as well. Who knows?
Well, I know we'll be like waiting for that, and I'm sure we'll get everybody on board for that. Louise, you know what I've noticed is all your videos, you've got distinctive South African videos. Not South African, you've got an international flavor about your videos that I don't think a lot of South African guys actually, or South African artists actually get out there. Is that proper international feel? So tell me, is there certain guys you like working with when you're shooting your videos, or is it? Who comes up with the ideas?
In my earlier videos, it would be the director.
Yeah.
And I worked with the same director, Lawrence van Rensburg, on a lot of my music videos. For home, we
Okay.
flew to Hong Kong. We blew his budget so badly. Those were the days when people still bought CDs, and we had budgets for music videos.
Yeah.
And these days, where our budgets for everything is just so small, I work with a guy called Matthew Marinas,
Okay.
and I actually come up with the concepts lately. And I think when you get older as a musician, I think you just understand things a bit better, and you're not so intimidated by all the processes. It's
I
quite
totally agree.
easy.
Yeah.
I'm lucky. I've got a lot of friends that help me out. So if I need a hotel room, I can call someone, like a beautiful hotel room. Then I've got a friend that manages some hotels, and then they say, don't worry, you can come and use it. So I've got contacts. But initially in my career, it was mainly a guy called Lawrence van Rensburg.
Yeah.
and I really I shut up a lot actually in my early career. I didn't.
Mm.
I wrote the songs and then I let people guide me.
Yeah.
And then I think from about Warrior, really, which was, I don't know, my fourth album, then I
Yeah.
was very clear. And I got a lot of backlash for the Warrior music video. I think a lot of people were used to seeing me looking a certain way in a beautiful
Yeah.
dress, sitting at the piano with my makeup. And Warrior, I had a unibrow.
Look.
I had such an amazing outfit, and they shut down the streets at 2 in the morning in Hillbrow, and they had
Yeah.
we got the fire department to wet the streets to make it glisten, and
Yeah.
then I got chased by hookers on the street saying like I've stopped their work, and it was
Oh, so
fantastic.
so it's like a normal night in Hillbrow then.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't do that stuff now. Although my what is it? One of my later videos I shot in Boston. I
Okay.
don't know how much you know about my career, but I've always had a dance career running simultaneously to my rock pop singer songwriter career in South Africa. So
Yeah.
I worked with Joe Bermudez in the States, and we've had two #1 Billboard hits, a song called Sunrise, and then
Yes.
Crazy Enough. And Sunrise, we didn't have, I just wasn't there in the right time to shoot a video. So we shot it here. Matthew shot it very simply behind a blue screen,
Yeah.
green screen, whatever, one of the colors. And then I was in Boston and we shot Crazy Enough, and we didn't have a permit to shoot. And it's such a cool video because we literally had to move fast.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun. So yeah, I think
But you know what?
fans have, yeah.
Like Sunrise was done in 2016, and
Yeah.
even then, you know what? I think it doesn't matter where you shoot the video. I think maybe you've just added that flavor, or you've just got that vision in mind that what you want to see comes out a certain way, and I think that's why your videos appeal to such a wide market. You know, such an international market.
Oh, thanks. That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm not easy to be with because I really do try and push and do the best I can do.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so living with me ain't easy. That's
Well,
why
I
I
know,
have
I
dogs.
know, I know that you grew up like in a girls' school before you guys moved around and stuff. And do you think that had a big influence on maybe becoming a musician, like at like such a young age, that you had to like compete with the other girls to like get that attention back then?
Oh, I knew I was going to be a musician from as early as I had any kind of conscious thought.
Yeah.
That was a given, and I detested school. I never fit in, and I tried so hard. I think that trying to fit in has never left me. But I'm coming to a point in my life when I realize that I am not going to fit into any prescribed mold for
Yeah.
a human, but for a woman. I am not married. I don't have children, and I fought that for a long time, just being at ease with that and knowing that in my soul I knew that wasn't what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
But actually being able to say it out loud to myself, and then being able to say those kind of things to girlfriends, because there's a lot of pressure on women. It's fun. You can play around in your 20s, but by maybe even, for Afrikaans girls, way more, and African girls. But we still feel it, us English girls. But yeah, I think I hated school passionately.
Mm-hmm.
I went to a government 1,000-year-old school that I always say, gave me an amazing education if I was leaving school in the 18th century. Nothing I learned had any real bearing in how to survive in the world that I was
Yeah.
entering. I loved university,
Yeah.
UCT. I studied PPE, politics, philosophy, and economics. I was
Yes.
already signed, so I was touring, and I had a great dean who allowed me to get extensions on things, and I loved in that environment. I loved that environment. But yeah, school was not a good time for me.
Well, you know what? As the first lady on SA Bros, I've got to like just give a shout out to you, because you've also been standing up for women's rights and stuff, and I know you're a a big strong woman within the ladies, and I think that's why, like, what's it, First for Woman sponsored you on what's it, your
Oh,
last
geez,
tour?
you've done your homework. Yeah.
Yes, no, of course. This is what we do, Louise.
Yeah, of course. Wherever they need me, I'll be there.
Yeah,
Especially around August. But yeah, I just live my life and hopefully lead by example. And if you want to be married and have children, as long as it's your choice, then that's
yeah,
100%. If you want to be, you want to have it all, you have it all. But I think hopefully I just live by example, which is I just follow my truth and what's right for me as a human being.
yeah. Well, you know what? Being in the spotlight for a woman, especially tonight, with like the male SA Bros whole thing, and is there anything that you think South African women can change to promote being woman in Africa, or South Africa at the moment, in this time, in the lockdown time?
Anything women can do.
Yeah, what can women do differently in the lockdown that'll promote like woman power?
Well, they can do the opposite of what I've been doing, which is they don't have to clean or cook. They can get their husbands to do it or their boyfriends. But I never did it before, you see. So this is me always going against the flow. I think if
Yeah,
women were always doing the cleaning and doing the kiddie things, and then they can stop and switch roles. But
yeah,
for me, I've never done any of that stuff. So I thought I would switch it up and actually learn a few things.
Yeah.
So I don't know really. I mean, I hope every woman's safe. I know there's been talk of some horrible things, going on during the lockdown with people that were
yeah,
in abusive relationships.
mm,
I think maybe use the time to. I mean, not everyone can get out of the abusive relationships as well. I mean,
yeah,
unfortunately, I've experienced an abusive relationship, and it's not just that women that don't have finances or aren't
yeah,
independent. I was completely independent, and I still found myself in one. So it's often there's a missing part of you, and you
yeah.
are codependent, and you don't think you can live without the other person, and that is such a lie. So I don't know, maybe use this time to reflect and on where you are and where you'd like to be, and
Well,
hopefully
I'm
it's
sure
not far
my
apart.
wife has been reflecting hard, and I've actually, when my friends phone me, they're like, "Dude, I can't believe you're still alive and your wife hasn't killed you yet. Like, what have you been doing to like stay out of her way, or like to make her happy?"
Put the
And
toilet seat down.
absolutely. And well, look, I'm the chef in the house. Although the wife cooks amazing, I like to try and go out of my way to spoil her, and to make sure that that I share the workload here at the house, and
Good.
that gets me major brownie points. But apart from that, uh, you being a more mature artist now, you've been in the industry like for like so long. What's your vision on what the future music market's gonna look like, especially after all the shit going on now?
Yeah. Well, I think firstly, bringing out the new album, I'm going to ask my record label Gallo, please
Yeah,
don't make me make a physical product.
yeah,
I'm not keen on doing that. They're cumbersome to travel with. Nobody's car has even a CD player
yeah,
of the newer models. So that's an obvious one.
yeah,
And then I think the live performances are here to stay. I've really
yeah,
enjoyed it. I get as nervous. I have a whiskey and I have that just to, I always feel a little bit, woo, here we go.
yeah,
Um, Things that you could maybe hide on stage because there is a kind of a low noise or a little bit of, I don't know, atmosphere.
yeah,
If you if you need to clear your throat or scratch your nose or something like that, you can see it right there. So it's a
yeah.
really like heightened version of a show. You obviously miss the camaraderie,
Yeah.
having someone there, but I think they're here to stay. And by doing my live show and using the busker code, which the lovely John Savage invented from the
Yeah.
band Cassette, which is long gone, but
Yes.
there's a wonderful company. You should interview him. He's
Yeah.
amazing, and he's developed this. And you just pop the code on. Well, so looking like a little barcode. You pop it
Yeah.
on your screen, and then people can contribute. And obviously, I make it a charity aspect as well. And my love is
Okay.
animals, even though
Okay.
causing me a lot of grief this lockdown. I do love them. I
Yes.
do. I have to remind myself that every morning. It's okay. So I think I've reached a lot of people that are expats, people living in Canada and London. And they said, gosh, I haven't been to one of your shows since whenever. And so nice to like have you in our dining room or on my computer right here in my room. So I don't think I'm going to stop that. I don't think it's a great medium for DJs. A friend of mine's a DJ, and he's like, "How do I make this interesting?" And I watched one of Black Coffee's one, and I was like, "It really is a medium for live musicians."
Absolutely.
And so I think it's wonderful. I can't wait to go and play live again in a beautiful venue, but this will just have to do. And I don't think it's going to just fall away once we onto lockdown 0 for live shows.
Yeah. Well, Louise, since you've started, have you always been using the same live band, or do you get different session musicians in for, I don't know, different album flavors?
That's a good question. I have used the same guys. Gideon Burtis has always done my guitar. And then also, if I can't get Gideon, then I use Martin Schofield from Bonneboom.
Yes.
And then I use David Klaassen for drums and his brother Theo on bass. So that is kind of my team, if I can get them. But the honest truth is, a lot of people just want me on piano, on electric keys. So especially if it's corporates and things that really do pay the bills, then you just have to, you're not in a lot of power there. You just have to kind of go, okay, you just want me because they just want the name.
Yeah.
Which is quite sad in a way, because I love being on stage with a big band. But so hopefully for the new album, but the new album is a completely different sound. So
yes,
I don't know. We'll see. It's a very, very different sound.
This is a full-on authentic Louise Carver sound, because this is the first time only you do pretty much everything, huh?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At your home studio. So you're the only one recording now. Every flavor, every sound, every effect we're gonna hear there is like,
I can't blame anybody.
Yeah.
It's me. I mean, it's pretty scary. Every decision I've made. But yeah, look, I am going to send it on to guys that will. But I'm not just sending like bare bones. It's very, very fleshed out. And what I'm actually hoping that they do is they've got maybe some different. I'm giving them ideas, but maybe their samples are better than mine, because samples are endless. I mean, this. It's like it's a Pandora's box. You can
especially in big
mad.
studios. Yeah, absolutely.
You're just buying these big packages of samples. I mean, you can get Alicia Keys' grand piano if you want.
Yeah.
So I think you've really got to have a vision of what you want. Otherwise, you'll be completely overwhelmed with what is available.
So, Louise, you've also been involved in like really major productions where you're doing really big shows. And like you say, where you do a bit more intimate shows with a bit smaller crowds. What do you prefer? Do you prefer the big flashy shows, or do you prefer the like intimate little shows? What appeals to you about both?
Well, both. For me, it comes down to sound. So I've done beautiful, huge. I mean, I did 46664. I've supported Michael Bublé, and 46664 was the most shocking sound. I mean, I don't think I've told anybody this, but we were given, all of us had 3 songs to do. We had to perform 3 songs. And Johnny Clegg was there, myself, Anu, Carson's, a bunch of us. And for the first 2 songs, I had no volume on my keyboard. I couldn't hear what I was playing. And I just went from memory. Though I knew the crowd could hear, but my monitors had no keys. And then on the 3rd one, I finally got it. And then it was done. It was gone. It was horrific. But it was probably the biggest show of my life. And
and I don't think people realize how quick that time goes when you're on stage. And
all musicians know it takes 3 songs to get settled.
Yeah.
And then you're whipped out. It's like anticlimax in the worst way. So
on a big show like that, it's literally like you blink and it's over. That's how quick it goes.
I know. You need to drink a lot afterwards. You're on this like, oh my god, and you just can't believe there was 30,000 people in the audience, and then it was broadcast to, I think, BBC. So it was to the world, and your
Yeah.
head can't, you just can't. So you need to have a lot of whatever's on the table, and you will have a hangover the next day, but you will calm down. But I've had intimate shows that obviously are amazing. For me, it comes down to great sound. If I can hear what's going on, and you'd be surprised at how many shows you can do an amazing sound check, and then you get on and it's completely different. So you
Yeah.
spend half the show trying to go, what is going on? So
Yeah.
for me, if the sound is good and I'm properly rehearsed, which I really am, and I've got a hold on my nerves, then I'm
Yeah.
on cloud bloody 10. It's awesome.
So
Yeah, and
you've also been doing like so many international shows, or like touring and playing in different places. Is there a certain international place where you go to where you like, okay, this I really need to come back to this place? What place holds a special spot in your heart?
Well, I've got a group of friends in Boston.
Yeah.
So I love Boston. But yeah, I was speaking earlier. New York, I'd like to take my partner Mark there. He hasn't been. So I've been quite a few times. It's very special. It's
Yeah.
amazing to perform there. Boston, I love working there. I love my friends there. So that's great. St. Petersburg in Russia was something out of a movie. I performed at 2 a.m. in a club. I have a track called I'd Say Yes,
Yeah.
which has been a number one in Russia. It was a number one for so many years. Never saw a dime because they don't pay their royalties. But anyway,
Okay.
I did get flown over, and I performed during the White Nights, which is 2 months during the year in Russia,
Yeah.
and where the sun only goes down at 1 o'clock in the morning, and it comes up again at about 3. So they only have like 2 hours of darkness.
Yeah.
But what I didn't know, I was so tired and jet lagged. I performed. I had strippers on stage next to me, as
Nice.
we do. And I mean, these beautiful, St. Petersburg women are, I was like a little full stop next to the exclamation mark. I was so
Oh.
short. And what was amazing was, well, they had a table full of the finest vodkas in my backstage area. And then I said at about I said at about 4 a.m. I said, okay. And no one could speak English. I just had one very bad interpreter. I said, I'm ready to go back now. I was staying at a Radisson hotel. I'm ready to go. I'm tired. And they said, no, we wait. I said, no, I'm sorry. It's been lovely. I'm so bloody polite. I said, it's lovely, but I would like to go home back to the hotel. They said, no, bridge, come down. And what I realized was that the bridges are all up, and then at 6 a.m. for the ships to come in, you see.
Okay.
And then the big trawlers come in. And then at 6 a.m. they've left, and the bridges can come down, and then you can get back. Because St. Petersburg is just a whole bunch of like 10,000 islands.
Well, thank God you understood him, that he said like wait for bridge to come down.
Eventually.
I just think he's telling me like, bitch, calm down. I'll just like sort him out right there. Yeah. So Whitey,
so,
Louise, you're doing something amazing tonight. You've got Whitey like, I don't know. I've never heard my big boy this quiet.
because you haven't stopped asking all the questions.
I
haven't
know.
stopped talking.
And you just going and going and going.
I'm sorry,
Okay,
Whitey. Hit it, man.
I'll take you out next time. Louise, where so we know where your best, where you just said where your best place was you played that you would love to go back to. Now tell us a bit, where do you want to perform in life, or who would you love to perform to? Because some of the South Africans has had the privilege of performing for celebrities and royalty and so on. So who and where would you love to actually perform?
Oh, let me think. Well,
Let's start with where.
I'd have to say, well, again, New York would be amazing.
Yeah.
Again, so I just love it. New York, in a beautiful lounge venue with all velvet chairs, dim lighting. I'd be playing with a brilliant double bass player. I'd be playing obviously on piano, all mic'd up. And
Yeah.
who would I like to perform to?
Yeah.
Sure, the problem is I want to say Stevie Nicks, but I'd be shitting myself. I actually don't think I could breathe. So
Yeah.
I don't actually want to perform for her. I think oh my gosh, you were like even the thought of somebody that I admire musically would just send me into panic. I don't know,
That's where the
maybe
whiskey comes into play.
you know what? Maybe my parents, have them in New York. They've never been to the States,
Oh.
and
Oh
have
well,
See,
I
them
just heard.
drinking a good
I,
whiskey and
I
watching
just
their
heard
girl
my
perform.
wife go, "Oh," in her room. I heard her. So that sounds like a very good answer to me.
yeah.
Oh, it's
You're
genuine.
Yeah.
scoring
No,
major brownie points with the moment that pop now, big time.
yeah. Yeah, hopefully they're
That'd be
listening.
lovely.
Louise, you said earlier on, I wanted to ask the question. You said earlier on you knew from a very young age that you were going to be a singer. How did that come along? How did you decide, or no,
I didn't
you wanted
decide.
to become a singer?
I don't know. It's a knowing. I know it sounds wishy-washy, and how do you know? I just knew. I knew this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I just I've been playing on the piano from 2, sitting there, and there's pictures of me just playing. I would sing to Queen vinyls
Yeah.
with headphones on, and my mum and dad said to me, they would listen and go, "This is something quite different." Hitting all the notes. So they say. I'm not sure. Yeah, little Carver urban legend. But anyway, it's a
Yeah.
nice story. But yeah, I would sit in the car. My mum was obsessed with Savuka and Jaluka and Johnny Clegg. My parents are British.
Yes.
And I'm first generation South African. So they just, everything African, they would take us out of school and take us on 6-week safaris to Etosha in Namibia, Kruger from Cape Town. I was born in Cape Town. So everything African was very vital to my mom particularly. So I would listen to Johnny Clegg and sing along and realize from a very young age, I can emulate things quite well and
Yeah.
just follow. But I saw Johnny Clegg, I think, for the first time when I was 8, and I just thought, well, that's
That
going to be me.
that's gonna
And then
be all you want to do.
that's it.
That's
And then I
brilliant.
saw Claire from Mega Groove when I was
Yes.
12. And
Miss
she was
Johnston,
up
yeah,
there.
she's phenomenal. She's something else. You know what? I think I've never dealt with a woman with that much energy when it comes to live shows. She is something else.
She is very loving. I just see her as a big Care Bear. When I met her for the first time,
Yeah.
she was just so. We did. I think we did Jacaranda Christmas carols,
Mm-hmm.
and there's not one arrogant bone in her body. She
Yeah.
looks like sunshine, and she immediately asked about my jewelry, and then went on the website and bought some pieces. So she's just lovely. She's a lot of women maybe wouldn't be so open and generous
Yeah.
with their time, and I mean, I'm a huge fan. Huge.
Absolutely. You know what? Living on Facebook lately, I'm fortunate that I can see what Tanny Johnston is talking about, and she's always like, just she's always got her animals on, and
Yeah,
and
her
always like,
hugs.
yeah, big time. So, oh man, she's just darling.
She's the best.
She's like South Africa's little one of those that just creep into your heart. One of those Tannies.
Care Bear.
Yeah,
Sunny.
straight up.
Oh, gummy
Straight
bear.
up.
Remember gummy
Yeah.
bears? Gummy
Yeah.
bears. Sunny.
Yes. So I see
South African.
Whitey's in silence
Yeah.
again. Yeah, this is
Now, I'm
amazing.
reading messages and questions from people. It
Okay.
says here you discovered your calling at a very young age. Your folks supported you. I take on that. They might take on that. Well done. Sorry, it's a bit jumbled up. It's a
Disappointing.
lady giving compliments to you and your parents there for supporting you through this decision
Oh,
of yours in
thanks.
life. Yeah.
Oh, they made
That's
me get an education though. That was the deal.
Yeah, that has to definitely. Yeah. There's another question here. I see that somebody is asking, "What is your guilty pleasure?"
Haha.
Ooh.
Mhm.
What is my guilty pleasure? I have a lot. Well, off the top of my head, I would say I do sometimes eat a whole packet of salt and vinegar chips. And then I feel terrible about it. But there's no off button when it comes to opening a packet of chips, a big packet, not a small packet. Yeah, so guilty pleasure. Jeez, I've been such a nun lately in lockdown. I've forgotten. I used to have a lot. I used to not be able to put down a bottle of wine, let alone a packet of chips. But anyway, as you, the hangovers have got too awful.
Yeah.
My guilty pleasure. I mean, I can't say anything too disgusting, so I'm trying to.
You don't do disgusting stuff, man.
No, I'm a lady.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
no, I can't think of anything other than food related. Maybe listening to a lot of ABBA. I do love ABBA. Shock horror. When I'm cooking or cleaning, ABBA goes on. And I don't care. I sing loudly to Mamma Mia and just
Dancing
Waterloo.
Queen.
And I feel really happy. It's really, really not the kind of music I'm making, but it really does make me happy. It's damn catchy.
You know what? I've got a 14-year-old. She's a little Down syndrome girl, and she like loves ABBA. So next time when I need a proper babysitter, I might just dial you up, and you will eat her up. I promise you, and she will keep you entertained on a different level.
Well, we can both work on being backup for ABBA.
Oh yeah, she's there already. She's there.
Wonderful.
Like Whitey knows her, and
happy.
Yeah.
And
they changed the way.
Yeah.
And they changed the way people record music today. I mean, everything we do studio-wise is pretty much ABBA driven.
And just the entrepreneurship of, not of ABBA, but of, I've forgotten his name now, but the main guy there. Anyway, to make it into a whole theater production, and then comes the movie. Just wonderful. I love it because I love Mamma Mia, and it's so camp, and I don't care. I've watched it about 25 times with my mum, and we both cry and we sing. Our mum's not. She's very anti-cheese.
Yeah.
So but when it comes to ABBA, my dad just goes somewhere else, and Mark, my partner, goes somewhere else, and we just watch Mamma Mia every year.
It's just the girls every year. That's it. That's cool. You guys have your own tradition now, your own ABBA tradition.
Never gets old. Yeah, I cry every time.
Oh man, that's just awesome.
Now, Louise, you mentioned obviously that on your lounge sessions on Sundays, 10% goes to animals and so on. And you told me off air before we spoke that you have a couple of dogs and so on. I won't mention what's been happening.
Sure.
Yeah, a couple. Let's be nice. And like I said, I won't mention what you told me in private. What is your favorite animal? I got a question.
Right now, not a dog.
And we know why, you and me.
My favorite animal would obviously be a dog. I mean, they're everything to me. They're just feeling cooped up. And actually, I took Marley, my Pitty, who's at my feet here. I took her in my car, and we went around the neighborhood today. And she was in flat panic. She lives on the couch. That's her place for the whole of lockdown, moving only for food, and the wee in a, number 2 outside.
Yeah.
And I decided, no, you're slipping into depression. You need to get in my car, and we're going to whiz around the neighborhood, and you can see the park. And she went into flat panic. She went into, her bottom lip was trembling. And then I thought, well, this is just pointless. So I got home, opened the back door, and she raced to get on her couch again. My couch. So she's got Stockholm syndrome.
You've turned a pit bull into like a lap dog.
Yeah.
She just wants to be, now she's got the fire, so she's here, but she's not here because of me. She's here because of the fire. Pit bulls love. Anyway, no, it is definitely a dog. But then if it wasn't a dog, it'd be a raccoon, because that's my spirit animal.
Nice. Sure. Okay.
Look at these fingers. These are not just piano playing fingers. I'd be a brilliant thief. I could break.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Yeah, very long thing. I love raccoons. I think they're just trashy animals. I dig them.
Yeah. Here's another question somebody asked on the WhatsApp group is, what is your biggest regret? It's funny enough, actually, these are some of our questions we've got as a standard, but now people are asking it. Yeah, so it's Elsaby that's asking me, what is your biggest regret?
I think about that quite a bit. What would have changed if I had stayed overseas? But everything fell into place for me. I was in England making dance music and then working on Silent Scream, which was the album that I had Empty Fantasy, Harder Than I Thought, and I was getting signed to Universal International.
Yeah.
And then they said that Universal South Africa needed to sign me first because I'm from South Africa.
Yeah.
And Universal South Africa said no. So Universal International said to them, no, but it's just a formality. Then we can work her music internationally.
Yeah.
And it had been a 3-year deal in the making. Lots of lunches, lots of being in England, away from my family. I had no money. And they turned me down. And it was such I went into a real spiral. And a week later, Sony signed me. And I came back and I released Empty Fantasy and it went to #1. And I started making money for the first time in my life. And I could buy my own place and live like a human. And it was just meant. And I moved to Johannesburg and I fell in love with Johannesburg and was able to really have a wonderful life here. I travel a lot, but my home is here. And you start to put down real roots. So I think about that. So what is my regret? I think my regret is not any of that stuff. That all needed to happen. But my regret would have been staying in toxic relationships too long.
Yeah. And I mean, your Silent Scream album came out in 2005, if I'm right.
I think so.
Yeah, that was 2005. And since then, obviously, let's see, after that, you have Saved by the Moonlight. That was 2007. So you can literally hear by the way your songs and your albums have changed, how you grew as a person as well. And like you said earlier, you sing about what you know and what you are. And I think that comes across big time in your music as a listener,
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I don't know how to write. You see, writing, I've never understood how I write a song. It just happens. So it happens, I think, because of an emotion. An emotion drives some cogs in my brain, and then out pops lyrics and a melody at the exact same time. I've never separated them. So obviously there's a craft that happens once the bare bones are down. And I've got that comes together, and then I come back and I fine tune. I make sure the lyrics are the best that they can possibly be to describe what I'm feeling in a unique way. So with a very universal emotion. I mean,
well, do you tap into like that honesty that only musicians can describe this? Is when you're writing a song, like whatever song you're busy writing, I think a lot of musicians on that honest, laying down the lyrics and stuff, and you seem to find a way that other people can relate to what you're saying. It's what do you say? It's a brutal honesty that you've got a talent to, that you've got a way to get through in your music.
Well, I don't actually know how to write any other way. So if I don't go through it, it's not gonna. I can't just magic up a song. So hopefully I've got better crafting the songs, and the production's got better over time. But there's also magic in the earlier stuff as well. And each producer brings something different. Like working with Theo Kraus was very raw. It was a very different process. I lived with him for a month, and he just sent me away and he said, "You are going to work for 3 months with a band, and you're going to get the live sound, and we're going to record it like that." So that's very different to all the other albums, which is you kind of work it in the studio. We worked at it outside the studio, and then we brought it in, which is why songs like Home and Time as a Healer and Didn't Mean to Call sound like a band, because it was. So but the songs are all done before I even go to a producer, and that's the way I've always worked. For me, and I think for a lot of songwriters, not all, you're right, a lot of them are able to write about things that aren't personal. They can maybe write about situations they've read in a newspaper or heard somewhere, or no one reads newspapers anymore, but read online or whatever that gets them. But I'm working through it. That's so I kind of, it's my way of working through something.
Yeah, it's your thing, because I've checked. You know what? Since you started out, let's think of songs like "It Don't Matter" and "Not Here" and "Play the Game." I can
Sure.
literally hear your like relationship kind of, there was nothing, and then in like 2017, well 2016 you've got like lift off, and in 2017 you've got keep your eyes on me,
Yeah.
and then this thing called love. So obviously your honesty, I can hear what's going on in your life just with the music that you write, you know.
And I think that as you get older, your relationships become far more, um, well, shades of gray. I think when you're
Yeah.
younger, it's he doesn't love me, and now we're over. I think when you have longer relationships in like as an adult, you
Mm.
have more unique things to say about them, and it's not black and white, and there's not a
Yeah.
goodie and a baddie, and you left me. And although Hanging in the Void, there was it was very clear. That was probably my most honest album. I'd been
Yeah.
through hell and back, and the writing of it. I listened to some of them today, actually. Some of the songs, and I do think it's my best album, my last
Well, Louise,
album.
Louise, like obviously, you know what? I'm lucky enough to like get a lot of influence of a lot of international bands. Who has been like your go-to band or go-to artist in this time that, apart from ABBA, that you've been able to like listen to and go like, you know what? I love that sound. Who's your favorite international artist at the moment?
Oh, at the moment,
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying Lana Del Rey, her latest album. I'm
Mm-hmm.
loving the vintage sounds that are coming out from her.
Yeah.
I like her whole style, so that's who I'm listening to a lot. But I listen to everything. I go back to R&B, old school '90s. Then I go
Yeah.
into obviously Fleetwood Mac, and then Crowded House. Then nothing can top their just those songs. Tracy Chapman those are my old school go to when I'm cooking or nowadays that I'm cooking. Um, but. But lately the influences that I'm really interested in is I suppose there's no genre for it, but it's sophisticated trap
Mm,
pop
mm. Okay.
vintage, if there was such a genre, and artists that are
Yeah.
bringing that. But I'm very eclectic. I think everything's worth a listen, and I've got everything on my playlist.
Well, you know what?
And yeah.
You say that, you know, nowadays people actually want to just hear you on a piano, and I can see I don't know, how can you say, the sex appeal in that, but you like one of the first ladies that like got electro stuff proper off the block, yeah, when it
Yeah,
comes
with
to
Play
South
the Game.
African music. Yeah.
Play the Game was actually allowed me to live without having to take a waitress job or anything like that. That little ditty still makes me money. It was number one in Europe, and
Mm-hmm.
I was 22, and it was all
Oh,
about working in a bar. I worked in Baraza in Camps Bay, and it was
yeah.
just reflecting on how men and women play this game. So yeah, I try and tell artists that are starting their careers that you have to get another job because you are building stories for your
Yeah.
songs. It's important to connect with people, and then also to serve people is a good lesson in life. Um,
Humbleness.
indeed,
Yeah,
and to
exactly.
yeah, and as you when you do eventually have some money, then you're always kind to people doing their job.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, now that I'm a domestic worker, I hope my partner will be very
Ah,
kind to me.
yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so yeah, dance has always fascinated me. I think there was whilst It Don't Matter was climbing up the charts and I was uh shocked by its success, I
Yeah.
was partying it up in clubs listening to top DJs playing. So I
Beautiful.
eventually went to my producers and I said, there's a real dichotomy here. Where I'm going and partying is not what I'm doing. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to somehow bridge this gap. And I did my first remix with, oh gosh, I've just gone, Ryan Dent. Um,
Yes.
so he remixed It Don't Matter. And because I just begged my record label, I just said, I need to make something that I'm actually partying to. You know,
Yeah.
I was 17. So
Mm.
Yeah.
from there, that got heard by other DJs and and my voice just seems to work with that genre. So I've
Yeah.
kept going. I've
It's
enjoyed
like when
it.
you did play the game with Kenny Hawks. Did that open a lot of like big stuff for you
Huge. It was
internationally?
everything,
Is it?
because from there I got approached by some Slovenian producers that sent
Yes.
me the instrumental for I'd Say Yes. And then I'd
Okay.
Say Yes went #1 in Russia. And then Sony UK signed it. And it did very well in England. And then Sony South Africa found out that a South African girl is on this record.
Yeah.
And then they emailed me just as I lost the Universal deal. So it all played its part. And that's why I'm saying with regrets, it would only be on a personal level, not a career level. And
Well,
I
it's like
suppose
the
that,
music.
yeah.
It's like the music chose you. Louise, I've got one more question here for you. This one's
Shoot.
from Richard Lloyd. He says, "Hello, Louise. What do you feel has been your personal best performance of your career so far? And can we listen to it on YouTube?"
Probably.
That's a big one.
Yeah, there's been a few. I really enjoyed. To give something more recent, then I'll pop back. This year, I really enjoyed performing at the Durban Botanical Gardens with Art. We do a show together, and
Okay.
it was for Valentine's Day, and everything just worked. The synergy on stage was pumping.
Yeah.
Our voices just work. The songs that we did together. It's what I live off on these lockdown days. That moment, it was packed. It was a beautiful evening, and it just worked. So that was a really favorite performance of mine. And then supporting Michael Bublé,
Yeah.
it was very funny. And I'll just tell you briefly. I had been trying to get that slot, and my manager and my team were really pushing, and we were told no, he's going to go with a stand-up comedian. And so that at the last minute they said, he's going with a stand-up comedian. The night before his concert, I was performing at a beautiful wine estate in Stellenbosch. And I thought, well, all my university friends were there and had a beautiful hotel room. And I can swear, we got shit-faced. I mean, out of it. And it was
Well, you're in one
reunion.
country, so yeah, that's the best place to have one of those.
I had the red wine kind of crusties.
The red
The
tea.
next day, I stank of booze. I had big black sunglasses, and I almost missed my flight. My band members there were 6 on there, and they were all looking at me, and they did the slow clap as I walked on the plane. Please, I'm in a lot of pain. Got to Tambo and walked to my car, and as I turned my phone on, my manager was like, "Get on the next flight back here. You are supporting Michael Bublé for 3 shows." I said, What? Get on now. So I booked you a flight, you get on. And I got on hungover, air-conned out, because, us singers, we don't like aircon. So aircon on a flight. A driver took me there, and I performed a kick-ass show, just piano and voice. It was awesome. And I was hungover.
Brilliant.
And there were about 8,000 people there. And I did it the next night, But I was beyond, when you're just beyond an emotion.
Absolutely.
I was so hungover and tired that I just got on with it. And I think we all, as performers, get in our own way.
Yeah.
Our anxiety causes weird things. But if you're so tired and hungover, you don't have, those emotions. You're blunt. So you just get on and do what you're supposed to do. And I did. It was awesome.
Yeah, awesome. So, Louise, thank you so much for answering our people's questions and so on. Now, this last minute or two, we just give it to the artist just to punt whatever they want to say, or there's a message they want to send to the audience. You've got the stage. Tell the people what you want to say.
Plug us.
Guys. Righty. Well, the only thing I can really plug now of any relevance to anybody is to tune in on Sunday for the lounge sessions on my Facebook page, which is Louise Carver Music. And at 8:30 p.m., I'm there and I clean up. I actually put a bit of effort into it. I wear a beautiful dress. I'm trying only to wear South African designers.
Yes.
And I perform something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. 4 songs. With that theme in mind. The borrowed is obviously someone else's song that I've put my interpretation on.
Yes.
And that is where I'll be. So it'd be lovely to, have you all watch me.
Well, that sounds a lot like Wedding Bells music, if you're asking me, That's the traditional wedding stuff,
After
But Louise,
all we've spoken about it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm already in the apron.
you've been the first lady on the show. I've got to commend you. You've been awesome. We as South Africans, we love you. Keep doing what you're doing. You are
exactly.
a step above the rest, and we can't wait to hear what else you've got. Keep it up. Stay safe. Stay in your house. And from SA Bros, I got to say, like, thank you so much. We love you.
In your
Oh.
frozen state.
Yes.
Yes, I am. Oh, then I'm back.
No. Chris is frozen. I don't know if you
Oh,
can see,
yeah,
but
Chris
Chris
is
is
frozen.
frozen. Look at that. He's frozen solid.
Yeah,
Yes, he looks like he's about to say something very important.
Okay. But again,
What are you going to
Louise,
say?
from my side as well, thank you
Thanks
so
for
much
having
for
me.
joining us. And
Thank you.
looking forward to seeing you on Sunday again. And all the best with your career and everything. Thank you for coming on. Have a
Thanks
wonderful
for
evening.
doing this.
Awesome.
Night,
Thank you,
guys.
Louise. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Look after yourself.
You too.
Bye.
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 Well, there you have
Dude.
it, Chris. We can't see you anymore. You're just a black screen at the moment. So I'll
Yeah,
just put it on for
it
the
looks
time
like
being.
old school. Oh, that's cool, man. Because it looked like old school ESCOM tricks there that was running
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
background there.
Yeah,
Straight
it
up.
looks like I'm talking to with myself now. So yeah, wow, what a good session there on the Bros, our very first lady, and it went very, very awesome. Huh?
And
What do
watch, I've got to be like honest with you. You picked a good one, bro.
Yeah.
Louise is beautiful. Guys, check out her fashion range and a jewelry range. She's not just a singer girl. She's a fashionista. She knows the jewelry.
Yeah,
She's got so many products and stuff that you guys can use to support her, especially in this time. I know most musicians and guys are like, hey, just put some bucks and stuff in here. Okay, remember to like and subscribe. I see why it's like,
that's
hey,
right.
bro.
But
But
while you're talking, people can look
yeah.
at it. Yeah.
But please go and support her. I think she's doing it the right way. She's got some merchant stuff that you guys can buy. So you get something for something. And do support the other musos. I know I'm one.
Yeah.
I haven't worked since 2 weeks, since before this lockdown. And
Yeah.
but I will not do that. Me and Whitey are working towards something bigger, and we couldn't do this without you guys. So thank you for supporting SA Bros, and thank you for supporting all the artists that we've fortunate enough to do all these interviews with.
Yeah, exactly. So, guys, we've got another powerhouse lineup for the week. We just had a cancellation for tomorrow night, so I'm going to work on it tomorrow to see who I can get for tomorrow night. But,
yeah, I'm crying because dude, we missed a seriously funny oak with a seriously dirty mouth. I think he's one of the few oaks with a dirtier mouth than me.
Yeah. So but we'll find a suitable replacement for tomorrow night. And then Wednesday we've got Conrad Koch and Chester missing. So that's going to be a very good one to watch. Thursday we've got he is the godfather of South Africa comedy, Mr. Mel Miller.
Oh,
that's
legend.
a big one. Huge
also
legend.
Dirty mouth. I can't wait to hear where Mel swear the cock out of everybody. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, so guys, there is a PG rating on that one. So if you've got kids, put them away because Uncle Mel will tell you a new one.
Oh,
and
yes.
And then to end the week off with, we've got Darren Moll. Now, if you want one of the best improv comedians in the country, that is him. This man, I've been friends with him, Chris, for about 20 odd years now. And I've watched him on stage, and this man is one of the funniest men you'll ever meet, and he's also current the host of the breakfast show on East Coast Radio Natal. So he's another huge name on our SA Bros lineup. So yeah,
one time, man. Well, dude, I'm sure everybody's looking forward to it. Whitey, I think you must have an awesome night. It's getting lekker cold. That big body needs to stay warm. And I know you've got a whole bunch of.
I put on a t-shirt for Louise. I'm normally like this, Moss.
Yeah, I know. Dude, I'm totally impressed. Tonight we didn't have to look at the sleeveless giant, and I'm sure you'll be back tomorrow to lay it out. So, Whitey, thank you once again for a lucky evening. Thank you, Louise, for being just so awesome and so beautiful. We truly love the show, and big ups for our first lady, man. Whoop whoop.
Yes. So, guys, see you tomorrow night from myself and Chris. Cheerio.
Masakanas away. Well, goodbye, everybody. From SA Bros.